In this video, I used Fredrinn because a lot of people in the comments were requesting it, even though I don't really know how to use him. I really tried my best for my loyal viewers. I cleared the jungle camp a bit fast here because of Selena, but when Fredrinn is alone, his jungle clear is decent. It's not as fast as other meta junglers right now, but it's still okay because of the buff he got recently. I think he can even farm faster than Masha in the early game, even if Masha is using a damage build. A good lineup for Fredrinn as a jungler is with a damage roamer if your EXP laner is tanky, or a damage EXP laner if your roamer is tanky. A tanky EXP laner and a healer roamer also works, as long as your mage is a damage dealer. I messed up the timing twice here because I stopped Yujin-kun from pulling Baxia closer to our turret. But we'll still be able to kill both Estes and Baxia here. At first I thought we were at a disadvantage in the lineup, because the enemy had a healer and it seemed like we'd lose in team fights. But it turned out okay since our team had stronger crowd control, as long as everything connects and the timing is right. Here, I thought we had the upper hand since we already killed Ruby. But it turns out Selena went back to base and I didn't notice. She could have still helped since her arrow has long range. I also didn't realize that my HP was slowly going down because of Baxia's second skill. I almost died here, but luckily I was able to recall just in time. So yeah, I was still warming up here because honestly, I don't really know how to use this hero that well. I've only seen pro junglers use him, and that's where I got an idea of how he works, but I barely have any first-hand experience with this hero. I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes in this game. Especially when it comes to the timing of my skills, there's still a lot I need to improve. I know it's better to use the third skill on the enemy first before using the fourth skill, so there's a higher chance of it landing. Sometimes, the airborne from the second skill is enough, but most of the time it's not, especially if the enemy has a dash, blink, or flicker. Ideally, you should maximize the effects of your skills. When you use your first or second skill, do a basic attack first before using the next skill, either second or first. When you use your first skill, you get an AoE enhanced basic attack with good range, which you can take advantage of, especially when stacking Thunderbelt. It makes it risky for enemies to get close. The enhanced basic attack after the second skill causes airborne, but it has shorter range compared to the first skill. When you use the third skill, it taunts enemies and also reduces the cooldown of your first and second skills. So ideally, you want to use your first and second skills first before using your ultimate. But that's not always the case. Sometimes in team fights, it's better to prioritize the crowd control from the second and third skills, even if you don't get to use your first skill right away. There are also times when it's better not to use the enhanced basic attack from your first skill, so your combo doesn't get delayed. But if you think you have the time, then go for it. If you want your combo to feel smoother, buy an attack speed item, the knife that costs 280 gold. It helps your enhanced basic attacks land faster, and it makes your combo execution smoother. That's what I did in this game. This part right here, the fight lasted so long that I was able to use my ultimate twice. Actually, almost every team fight in this game lasted long because the enemy had a healer, but at the same time, they were lacking in damage. There are a lot of basic mechanics you need to understand when using Fredrinn, but I won't go into detail here since this isn't a full tutorial. Like, I'm not even good at using this hero, so of course I don't have the right to teach. I'm just sharing the things I noticed while playing him. What seems better to do, or what works. At the end of the day, experience is the best teacher. And whether it's in-game or in real life, I've learned more from my own mistakes than from other people. But you can also learn from other people's mistakes. That's even better than just focusing on what someone did right or why they became successful. Sometimes people only look at the wins without understanding the failures behind them. And you know what? You haven't really done anything if you haven't made mistakes. What matters most is that we learn from our own mistakes and from the mistakes of others. Anyways, Thunderbelt was actually my first build in this game. It's like late game insurance, so if the match reaches late game, you already have high Thunderbelt stacks, and it's almost like having a bonus item at that point. Plus, the slow and true damage it provides are really useful. Most of Fredrinn's item build includes cooldown reduction, so you can almost spam crowd control. Without CDR, his skill cooldowns are really long. The unique passives from his items are also super important for him. For example, brute force breastplate stacks during extended fights, increasing your damage and movement speed. and when fully stacked, it reduces crowd control duration by 15%. Combined with tough boots, that's 45% CC reduction, almost half. That's really important for Fredrinn because he needs to cast his skills without too much interruption to be effective. He's supposed to be the one applying CC, not the other way around. Oracle boosts the healing from his passive, and it's also great if you have a healer teammate since it increases the healing and shield you receive. Queen's Wings is also important so you won't get bursted down easily and can use your ultimate properly. When your HP is low, you get damage reduction, which makes it the perfect time for Fredrinn's ultimate. Plus, one of Queen's Wings' passives converts lost HP into damage. Perfect synergy with how Fredrinn works. These items are perfect for Fredrinn, not just for the cooldown reduction, but also because of the added survivability and damage potential. We wiped out the enemies here and tried to end the game. Ruby was about to respawn, so I made sure she couldn't get close to the minions to avoid any miracle defense. And yeah, that's really what you should do. It's okay to take some turret damage, just don't let the enemy get near the minions so they can't clear the wave. If you want to win, that's the play. So this was my full build for the game, and wow, I had the highest damage dealt and damage received. So I also tried him in the EXP lane, and honestly, he's much better in the jungle. But let's see. I started by leashing for our jungler. His first skill deals really high damage, over 500 to the orange buff even though I'm not the jungler. I used Vengeance here to avoid getting burst down. You can also use Flicker if you want, there's a lot you can do with it. But for me, I prefer Vengeance. I was laning against Edith, and our matchup was really good. I've read a lot of people struggling to win games using Masha, and my tip is, never use Masha if your team doesn't have a front line. If your jungler is damage type and your roamer is a damage dealer or a healer, you'll be at a huge disadvantage in terms of lineup. It's really hard to win in that kind of setup. Never pick Masha if your roamer is a healer. I've tried it so many times while trying to climb MMR with Masha, and it just didn't work, no matter how well I played. It just doesn't fit. You end up with no front line, and Masha doesn't even need a healer. What she needs is a setter. That's why in this game, since we didn't have a front line, I went for a tanky EXP laner. Win or lose, that's fine, as long as the team comp makes sense. In this part, I was already at half HP when I fought Edith, but I was still able to hold my ground, and that's where Vengeance really made sense in this game. I was about to back, but then Angela suddenly attached to me, so of course I went after Edith to make the most out of it. I was able to kill Edith here and then went after Nana. I was trying to time my third skill properly, but she suddenly pushed me back with Flame Shot. That got me fired up, so I dove her under the turret out of frustration. Angela was super supportive to me in this game. She kept using her ultimate on me. Well, I was really the only one who could fully maximize it. For the others, her ulti would mostly just be for emergency saves if needed. That's why I keep saying having a front line is so important in this game. It's always better to have a lineup that complements each other. With a solid comp, you can win even without outplaying your enemies by a mile. If both teams have equal skill, the one with the better synergy and lineup will usually come out on top. This part could have been perfect if Nana didn't have her passive. But yeah, once you get used to playing Fredrinn in the jungle, you won't really need Flicker. Vengeance feels better and has a shorter cooldown too. But if you want to pull off some tricky plays or outplays, then Flicker can work. Just make sure you're able to use your ultimate before you get taken down. The enemies dumped all their skills on me here, and that really shows the importance of having a front line. You're the one who absorbs the damage and enemy skills so your teammates can play safely. Ideally, a team should have 2 frontliners to make sure fights are more manageable and balanced.